this Thursday in the show. First, a big win for the governments of Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra and Karnataka as the Supreme Court upheld the validity of the traditional bull-taming sport, Jallikattu and bullock cart races. Now, in its verdict, the Supreme Court said that the state's acts are completely legally valid. Now, an order was pronounced by a 5-judge constitution bench headed by Justice K.M. Joseph, and the Supreme Court said that legislature has declared that Jallikattu is a part of the cultural heritage of Tamil Nadu, and that's why the judiciary cannot take a different view. Now, this is a major victory for the Tamil Nadu government. The Chief Minister has tweeted that it is worth writing in golden letters in the history of Tamil Nadu that the Constitution Bench of the Supreme Court has ruled that Jallikattu, a sport that expresses the bravery and culture of Tamil Nadu, is not prohibited. Now, to get more on this, we have my colleague Sam Daniel joining us for more. Sam, those are the visuals that we're seeing of the sport that's played in Tamil Nadu. And while it is a major victory for Chief Minister M.K. Stalin, the entire Tamil Nadu government, on the other side, animal activists, including PETA, the organization, are criticizing this move by the Supreme Court.
That's right, Priyanshi. They call it as an order that could take India back in ages, to dark ages, as they call it, into regressive times. And they say it's unfortunate that the Supreme Court has not really dwelled into the merits of their objections, although the Tamil Nadu Assembly had promulgated an ordinance bringing this under the provision of cultural heritage. They say the cruelty aspect has been completely overlooked, and they say in spite of the new regulations put in place over the last few years, people have lost their lives and animals have been killed, and the cruelty element still continues. And they're exploring the legal avenues to see how best they could bring in terms of remedy. But they've also called for people, animal lovers, to reject this kind of what they call a spectacle. And joining me now, Mr. Arun Prasanna, the founder of People for Cattle in India. Thank you very much for your time. Your initial reaction for this order?
Very, very disappointed. This order has taken us back several years of hard work. The right directions towards animal welfare has been taken aback. So it's very disappointing. Never expected such an order, especially from a constitution bench.
The Supreme Court has upheld the validity of the ordinance, saying that they're not going into the merits of the argument behind the cultural heritage of this, but they seem to believe the legislature's wisdom completely.
It is a very bad precedent, to be very honest. So tomorrow somebody wants to do something illegal, all they have to do is just do protest or set a police station on fire and do all those things and put pressure on the government, and the government passes an ordinance which eventually becomes an amendment, and this is not challenged. Though it was challenged, it was never, it was permitted at the Supreme Court. This is a very bad precedent, and this has taken us back to the dark ages. The unfortunate thing in this episode, though there were 5 honorable justices or judges at the Supreme Court, not even a single judge, passed a remark on the cruelty part. The fact that ever since 2017 amendment, there were 104 humans were killed in Jallikattus across Tamil Nadu, and there were 33 bulls along with a cow that had killed. So these numbers are staggering. In fact, this year alone, which is hardly 6 months into the 2023, there are 10 casualties for bulls and 18 casualties for humans. So the numbers just keep increasing, and the fact that the honorable judges did not even mention this is very disheartening.
The court has also acknowledged that many fresh regulations were put in place. It's not the same cruelty what you see now compared to what was seen, say, 10 years ago. Would you acknowledge that? Now, the Jallikattu, in terms of regulation, double barricading is there, less number of bull tamers are being let into the arena. In that sense, the cruelty has come down?
See, honestly, I've witnessed Jallikattu before the ordinance, before the amendment, and I've witnessed even after the amendment. There aren't much of regulations, though there are regulations on paper. Getting them implemented and enforced is a big task, because you are handling a crowd which is such high in numbers, and there are so many bull tamers on the arena. So practically speaking, getting those regulations to do a checklist is not possible. And if that was the case, why would we have so many mortalities? As I told you, there are 100 plus humans and 30 plus bulls that has died, and who's answerable to these parents who've lost their children?
The government seems to have taken the popular sentiment. For example, a few years ago, the Marina Beach saw at least 30,000 people at any point in time for almost a week gathered there asking for Jallikattu to be revived. In one sense, that's the public mood. What will you say?
Unfortunately, the government as well as the honorable judges did go with the popular choice, though it is not the right choice, which is unfortunate. This is a very bad precedent. It has taken us back to several years of hard work, and this is definitely not the right step.
Legally, what are the provisions available at the moment?
See, there are a lot of petitioners in this matter. Several NGOs across India had pleaded in this matter. Talking about Jallikattu, we should also mention Kumbala, which happens in Karnataka, where they chase a buffalo on a water body. It's even more cruel. So with the bullock cart races that happens in Maharashtra. So there are NGOs which is already pleaded in this matter. I'm sure they will look at options. Going to the 7-bench constitution bench is the only option left. But again, so much pressure from the political parties and so much pressure from the public, I'm not very confident that there's going to be a remedy in that particular bench also.
What will be your response to those who argue that Jallikattu doesn't involve cruelty, that the bulls are actually pampered, trained for this, and when it comes to culture, these things have to be accepted?
See, the people who raise these bulls, honestly speaking, they do take good care of those bulls because they want the bulls to be really, active. That is the reason why they raise them. But having said that, once the bull is put in the arena, those people, the owners of the bulls, do not have a control over them. It is the bull tamers, the people who jump on them. If there is no cruelty, why do we have such staggering number of bull deaths happening across Jallikattu throughout the year?
What's the ground situation? Is it a cultural event or has it become a commercial event now?
See, initially it used to be a cultural event where, anybody can participate and there wasn't so much of media attention, there wasn't so much of, fancy prices. But today it has become very commercialized, it's become an entertainment. Honestly speaking, it has become a TRP kind of a setup for a lot of local channels where they do live programs, they broadcast it, pick up a lot of sponsors. And the prices, today you get such fancy prices where they even offer to give a car, which is like easily 7-8 lakhs. So I think the Jallikattu that is happening these days is more of a commercialized entertainment, which is also politicized.
They point out bodies like PETA and even many activists, who raise objection to this. They turn a blind eye in one sense to what's happening to the Spanish bullfight in Europe.
See, first and foremost, there is so much of misinformation on this matter. Jallikattu, the petition against Jallikattu initially was not filed by PETA or any animal welfare organization. It was filed by one Mr. Nagaraj, who lost his son, who was an 18-year-old son, who was sitting in the gallery. The very primary petition was filed by a non-animal lover. But eventually, like when the Jallikattu happened and we did have a lot of substantial evidence, that is when we were implicated in the matter. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Arun, for your time. So there you have an animal lover giving his point of view, Priyanshi. But in terms of the argument from the other side, they say it's a welcome judgment. The government of Tamil Nadu has welcomed it. And now all eyes would be on a new, larger arena coming up at Alanganallur, the capital for Jallikattu. But certainly, whether you agree with this order or not, whether it's going to lead into more legal tangle or not, certainly this has triggered a fresh debate over culture versus cruelty.